Okay, so today we're going to make pretzels. The water's a little warm, but that's a good thing because we're going to dump 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. This is what we use, organic maple syrup, into the water.
How much water?
3/4 of a cup. 3/4 of a cup. Hot water. 110 degrees to 115 degrees, just so that yeast activates without killing it. Teaspoon of yeast.
What kind of yeast?
Instant, regular yeast. And we're gonna put that aside and let that sit for 8 to 10 minutes so that yeast can cook a little. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes on our yeast. Now remember, this is 3/4 of a cup of warm water, 110 to 115 degrees with quick rise instant yeast. You let that sit with the maple syrup for 8 to 10 minutes. So now, I like to just get a slightly wet spatula, dump this in to the flour and oat flour combination. If you don't have oat flour, you can take your quick oats and blend them up and make oat flour pretty easily. Most everybody will have some oatmeal on hand, especially now. Mix this up real good. When it gets to a certain point, I just take all this off and then get in there with my hands.
Since we're all washing our hands anyway.
Right, hands are very clean. And you just get in there and you knead this until they're all well combined. Sometimes I have to add a little bit of water to it. It's quite all right, just use warm water. But you can almost always go in there and just keep kneading it over the dry flour and it all gets picked up. Once you got all the flour, bring it to a surface, make sure you have a little bit of flour on hand. Sprinkle a little bit of flour down. Continue to knead.
For how long?
A couple minutes. You get to see it. We can time it now actually. Yeah, probably looks like 2 minutes, I would say. Let those glutens really come together. More flour down. If you are using whole wheat flour, you're probably going to want to use a little bit more water. But I figure we all have all-purpose flour on hand. But that's it. It's just a couple ingredients: yeast, maple syrup, oat flour, and all-purpose flour. So this is about right. You got a nice, not sticky dough. You can work it. What I like to do is I just create a little log here. And I take a vegetable scraper like that and I cut it into 6 equal parts. Cut it in half. Well, didn't go equal this time, huh? If you have one that's obviously way bigger, I just break a piece off and add it to it. And then you make little balls, little tiny balls. This is a little small here. So we keep adding to this little guy with the bigger ones, just to make everything even. You get little balls. On a cookie sheet over here, we have a cookie sheet lined with parchment. Lay the balls down. Again, this one's a little small. So you get them as even as possible. Lay them down. Cover them with a nice light towel. Now, this is the secret. Keep them near your oven, not too close that you burn anything. Then you turn your oven on to 400 degrees. Let your oven preheat while these rest for 20 minutes. At the same time, fill up a 8-quart pot about halfway with water and turn that on and bring this to a boil slowly so that this will be boiling up to temperature, everything, for 20 minutes. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes. You see we have our oven is at temperature. It's 400, I'm sorry. Our water is boiling and our pretzels have risen a little bit. So we take one. Now we're going to roll them into pretzels. On a clean surface, start to roll them out. Once you get them into the length, which, you know, what is that? About 2 foot, 18 inches or so. Roll them out. I take a little bit of water, like just the tiniest little bit of water. Really, just you want damp hands. If your hands are too wet, they get a little too sticky. So just slightly damp, so that once you make the pretzel, which what you do to make the pretzel, take the two ends, twist them, fold them over on themselves. Push them down. That's why they're wet, so they stick together and they stand up to the boiling process. Now what we do here in Philly, we make them long ways like this. They fit better on the tray. Take them, put them back on your parchment paper. Take another one. You repeat this process 6 times. This is a bigger one, so it'll probably get a little longer.
Are you gonna wet your hands each time?
Each time, unless you've over wet them, you don't have to, but this time I will, yes, each time. This is the tiniest, dampest of hands. Just the dampest of hands. And it just allows the dough to stick to itself when you make the pretzel. Like this right here they'll tend to fall apart in the water if you don't do this process. Pro tip there. You got the heat coming out of your oven and it's warming this area over here.
All right, we'll be back when these are done.
So we have our pretzels made up, our water's boiling. This is 3 tablespoons of baking soda. You just dump this in the water. Now, take each pretzel, I like to do 2 at a time, into the water. Turn the heat back up because you want it to be a nice rolling boil here. You know, dump 2 in there. We're gonna let each one sit for 30-45 seconds. You'll notice that they plump up. And that reminds me, after you take the towel off, after that initial 20 minutes of them proofing, you can then put them right into boiling water with the baking soda and make pretzel buns. If you would like to see that done, I could easily make a video for that as well. These will puff up. You'll notice that skinny and tinier here. And as they sit in the water, the longer they sit, don't go too long. Like I said, no more than a minute, 30 to 45 seconds is usually what it takes. Give them a flip. You see, they start to just magically grow. And you do that for all the pretzels. So they've been in the water about a minute. So I take them out. They can be fragile at this point, so I use 2 spatulas here. Drain the water off best you can. Put them back on the parchment. You see how puffy they've gotten. For toppings, you can use salt, the coarse sea salt. We use Trader Joe's, no affiliation, but the everything bagel seasoning. And as soon as they come out of the water, you sprinkle a little bit on to your liking. We really enjoy the everything bagel seasoning. Less sodium. And then you repeat that process. Into the water. Into the water.
Okay, we'll be back.
Pull the last 2 out. And we are done with the water. We can shut this off. Coat them. And toppings is up to you. If you're going to use salt, I would suggest going with the sea salt and not just regular table salt, the coarse sea salt. Now they are ready to go into the oven. I found that about 17 to 18 minutes in a 400-degree oven gives them a good brown color. Cooking times may vary. Okay, so it has been 18 minutes I set the timer for. As you can see, I think I'm going to put them back in. Probably another 2 more minutes. Give it a nice little spin. I think we have it. They look good to you?
They look delicious.
Come over here and give them this. There's the ingredient list. For more videos, subscribe and follow.